if you find oil down the spark plug hole, you will see something like black fluid around the spark plug without removing the spark plug, just the ignition coil, pull it from there. So this is an engine from Hyundai, and normally what you need to do is remove this top cover of the engine, the valve cover, the plastic, and replace the seals. However, it's not a fun job, especially because it has a high pressure fuel pump on it, and when you remove it, you need to also replace some pipes. It's just one-use pipes. When you crush them, it's not always easy to disconnect. So anyhow, it's a big job. Well, not big, but this is what I did. I just don't want to go that way with the seal. So what you see here around is gray RTV. I recommend gray one because it's easy to remove it. Black, it's too sticky. And I did basically identify there is a seam. You will see a seam which is between the cover and the bottom part of the I don't know, it's like metal part. You will see a line about half an inch from the top of this opening basically, and that's where the oil is leaking onto the spark plug hole or around the spark plug basically. And I'll explain in a moment what I did, but why is it actually important to fix this issue? Why? Because that oil leaks when the engine is running. It's very, very hot and fluid, the oil that is, and it has this capacity of actually leaking down and past the spark plug threads. Yes, perhaps you are going to say, no, that's not possible. It is actually, because it's so fluid. It's just leaking past those threads, even with the spark plug properly secured, properly tightened. And from there, from the threads, it goes on the tip of the spark plug, and it affects the spark. It's not going to cut the spark completely because it's a small amount of oil, but it does reduce it. And once I did this patch, it's really just a patch, right? I did notice a fuel improvement consumption, especially in city driving. Maybe not on highway driving, but in city driving I did notice an improvement. It was consuming quite a bit of oil before. So what I had to do, obviously you just let the engine cool down completely overnight, and then it's all about, because the oil leaks especially when the engine is hot, right? You need to really clean inside. I did use alcohol, isopropyl, the rubbing alcohol. Try to find the higher grades, 95%, 99% if you have. Just keep rubbing with something clean, just a piece of paper towel, quality one, until you no longer get any kind of oil on it. So it has to really remove and just, let pass a few minutes, clean again and so on. It has to be super clean, all the surface where you apply RTV gray, like the Permatex type. Once it's very, very clean, then I did apply the Permatex. Now, there is issues with this. It's difficult to apply it. You may use a finger with a glove on it, but it's difficult to coat properly. And you need to coat above and below the line quite a bit, right? So half an inch above, half an inch below, perhaps more. It's important not to drop gray RTV in there, because obviously it's going to cause a problem when you want to remove the spark plugs. And also the coat has to be fairly thin. I recommend actually putting a thin coat, let it dry. I'm not sure how the time is, maybe overnight. Put a second coat and maybe even a third coat, but has to be thin. And one of the problems that you will have is when you want to remove or put back the ignition coil, it's rubbing on the RTV. So that's why it has to be very thin. If it's too thick, the coil will just push on it and dislodge it from the tube. So one of the things is to just pay attention to have it very thin so it doesn't rub. But also, actually what I did coat it. I don't remember exactly what kind of grease, perhaps silicone, PTFE. Just coat it once it's fully dry, so this thing, the rubber piece, does slide easily in and out. And I have to say, I did this perhaps more than 2 years ago. and as you can tell, it's dry at the bottom. No more oil leaks at all. One thing, if for some whatever reason you don't want to go replacing the gasket, you don't want to put RTV, you can also get a piece of Bounty paper towel, but quality strong one, not something that is crumbling, and cut it not too long and just wrap it at the bottom hole here. It's going to absorb a little bit of that oil. It's really, that's just on the spot, something like this. And make sure you actually need to push it with a stick in there to sit it properly, and make sure it doesn't go on the top of the spark plug when you put the coil on it, because it's going to get in between the spark plug coil, that paper, and it's obviously not going to make ignition. This is one thing. Just final word. Hyundai engine. This is a GDI. It's a 2011, 2019. Many of these, and I've seen this on forums way too often. It's surprising. Many have oil leak problems from the cover, valve cover, plastic piece. This is all plastic, what you see, the black thing. So it's not always on the first cylinder, it could be on the other cylinders, and also sometimes it seems it leaks somewhere around the pump. I have no idea why it's happening like this. And also when you replace the gasket, you need to obviously clean the surfaces, both sides, with alcohol, really pristine clear, no grease, no oil, not. But also you need to coat some RTV at corners. There is specifications on this. But I think at the factory, the workers don't pay attention at their hands. So maybe they have to put some grease in place, I don't know, when installing parts on the engine or something like this, or oil. And I think they put their hands on those matching surfaces before placing the gaskets, or even on the gaskets themselves. And that tiny bit of oil or grease on the gasket or on the matching surfaces will cause a leak later on, because this leak started from new. It was caught when the car had very low miles, so it has been done at the factory. It's a problem at the assembly line. And maybe, I don't know, just finishing this, maybe the Korean workers, I respect them, they are very hard-working people, but perhaps they don't wash properly their hands after having a lunch. Thanks for watching.